afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture, just to see how those things affect our daily lives. I'm coming at you this evening with a review of Season 5, Episode 2 of Insecure, entitled Growth. Okay. Let's recap. Last week, Issa went to Stanford. She was on a panel on a panel about the block and how it feels to be like an independent entrepreneur. We had Tiffany and her husband. They were there. What's her name? Kelly. Kelly was there as well, and Molly. Issa and Molly rekindled their friendship. Kelly had an incident, and I talked about it in the last review, about everyone thinking that she was dead, and her having a moment of having a moment of clarity, of having to review her life as far as her being in the friendship group, pretty much the butt of the jokes, and how people thinking that she's dead all of a sudden wasn't funny. It really wasn't funny, but her reevaluating who she is and what her legacy on this earth would be if she was to go. So she's having a series of, growth, as you will. That was her episode of showing growth. We saw Molly trying to get back again with her relationship with Issa, having some little pitfalls, especially with men, without Molly knowing exactly what she wanted. There was some guy that was trying to pursue her. Molly did good without falling back into her old traps of going back, and having sex with this guy, just meaningless, and never can ever connect on a deeper level. Tiffany and her husband seem to be on a good foot. However, at the end of the episode, he looked at Tiffany a little differently. She was smiling, but he was looking at her a little differently. I don't know what their relationship is going to be. I think that they've run into a rut, and they are trying to be too polite to work through it. They just think if they fake it till they make it, and it doesn't seem like it's going well. I think Tiffany is coming through her postpartum. Watching other reviews, to see how other people have a take. Someone had mentioned that when was it? When did Tiffany get pregnant? Tiffany has been pregnant since like the second season, I think. That there was a problem between her and her husband with her work husband, and possibly that Tiffany may or may not have had an affair with the work husband, which means that the baby may or may not be his. Because I know that he when they had that baby shower, he had some incidents or something like that. I remember that it was very subtle, but I remember that. So maybe something like that is coming forward. We saw at the last episode that Issa broke up with Lawrence because she had an instance of clarity. Lawrence has a whole family. He has a whole relationship. And he needs to do what he needs to do. And Issa doesn't need to be the third leg. They tried. It didn't work out, so they can move on. So this episode is entitled Growth, okay? So where we pick up, we're a whole year later from the Stanford panel. We see Issa and Molly. They do a little montage. Issa and Molly are getting up. Issa is really working her block business. And it seems like more of an event planning situation. She plans events around people and their interests. So she is doing a really good job with that. She has hooked up garnered a lot of attention, because she had like 10,000 followers on her Instagram, honey. So she's doing pretty good. She's feeling pretty good. I think she's still living in the apartment. I think she's still being an apartment manager, which is smart, because this seems like one of those jobs where you may get a good lump of money, but that money is supposed to last you for a while. So it's good for her to have a consistent stream, and it's pretty much easy work compared to what Issa has been doing, being a Lyft driver, working at We Got Y'all and all of that other stuff. We see the montage goes over to Molly. We see Molly. We see Molly really, really working on herself, really doing self-care, which I think is very important to see for women, to make sure that you work on yourself. She has a desire and she wants to be in a relationship, and she does have a desire. She wants to be married. No problem with that, but you got to go into that whole, not half, not 3/4. You've got to go into that whole, and you've got to go in there with what your expectations are, what your deal breakers are. And Molly doesn't seem to really know, because Molly doesn't seem to know herself. She knows what she's capable of, but she doesn't know herself, and that is something that's that I think that she's working on. It was funny. One of the little things when Issa got up and she, was getting on her day. Her assistant, is her name Quinoa? I don't know what the girl's name is, but she was there at the house because she said her parents were having sex and she just couldn't stand that. So she just came on over to Issa's house and she fixed Issa some breakfast and they went on about their way. Again, Issa's business is doing well. And she's helping an author with the book signing. And the lady comes out. She's like, "Oh, I come to all your events. I think you do a really good job. You've saved my life." And Issa is looking, and I promise, I think I would have, my internal self would have been screaming like, "Huh? What?" But my outer self was like, "Oh, well, you're so welcome." I think that's the Southern in me. "Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so glad. And I'll see you at the next event." And then after that, I'd been like, "I sure hope I don't see that woman at the next event." I'd be like, "Oh, I don't want to see her. Her energy is because it was weird. It was just, the energy was weird. She was like, you could tell she was grateful, but it was just like an awkward kind of thing." And that goes back to Issa and her being an awkward person. And I love the play that, we don't always have it together. We don't always know what to say in certain instances. And that would have been one of those instances where I would have never known what to say. I would have looked at that woman and been like, "Oh, okay, all right." But my face would have told my whole story. I've been like, But moving on. Molly and Issa have dinner. Molly spends the night. Issa has a pillow for her. All of that good stuff. So, like I said, they have spent that year really working on them and working on their relationship. And it seems like they're in a good place right now. We fast forward to Nathan and his haircut business. And they've been in business for a year because, again, we have fast forward to a whole year. And they're wanting to have like an event to celebrate their year being in business. Issa is their planner. They're going over the budget. Nathan's partner wants this nice size big show. And she was like, "Well, if you want a big spot, we have to look at these big spots. If you want to celebrate, we have to, have a spot that you can do that in." And giving them some information and some pointers and things like that. Just kind of, she's in her bag. She's letting them know, giving them some stuff. And Nathan's like, "Well, as long as we sticking to the budget, we're good." And so she was like, yeah. We're going to stick with the budget, but if you want another venue, if you want something different, then we need to kind of work on that right now. Then, meanwhile, we go across to Molly. Molly is with her parents. Her parents have thrown this big old function. Molly is talking to her parents about estate planning and the importance of estate planning. They don't seem to be too into talking about that. And Molly is trying to tell them how important it is. She's talked to them about estate planner and has recommended a estate planner. They haven't called him. And, that's an interesting thing. And I think it's a good thing for Molly to talk to her parents about. So often our parents are so busy working, trying to make sure that we have a good life, that they don't think beyond the fact that, they may die, and what will happen to all of the stuff that they've built. if they die, because the state will come in, take it, and it's difficult to recapture stuff after someone's taken it away than for you to make a decision about where things are supposed to go. And I think a lot of times our parents are like that, are fearful of stuff like that. They don't want to, because that makes them have to focus on death, and it makes them have to focus on planning and doing all these things, and having to think that there's going to be a life without them, with their family. Those are kind of emotional things that come up. It's practical to do that because, again, the state will come in and take what they will. So FYI, if you've got land, property, and I don't care what kind of property, hell, I'm talking about where your TV and your dressers and all of your stuff, jewelry, any of those things, you need to go ahead and do an estate plan, make a will, and have that stuff outlined. Now, if you're doing a funeral, don't outline your funeral in your will. That should be something totally separate. You should have a burial plan and all that other stuff. That should be something totally separate. But just get that done, FYI. For any, doesn't matter what age, FYI. Do some planning, financial planning, estate planning, and burial planning, life insurance. I know people are like, oh, well, I'm 25. What in the world do I need life insurance? Number one, y'all can't drive worth a damn. And a lot of you all in your 20s are killed in driving accidents, or you're hurt in driving accidents. So life insurance is good for you because it'll help those that are left here figure out what they need to do, okay? In your 30s, your 40s, you're a little older. Yes, it's important because mostly during that time you have children. But anyway, let's not go too far down the road. But anyway, Molly's mom is one of those moms that really wants her daughter to be married. And so she is at this point, because I think Molly and them are just like in their early 30s. They're like maybe 30, 31, 32. And her mother is really adamant about her getting married, to the point that she is just introducing Molly to people that she don't even know if it's compatible with Molly. He just goes to church, and she's like, oh, I want to introduce you to Herbert. And Herbert is like, he's just I don't know if he's Molly's type or not. I don't want to put that out there, but Molly's not in a point to be in a committed relationship, and Herbert seems like a person that wants to be in a committed relationship, so he will move fast and hard to be in that committed relationship. He said he do trap gospel. Ooh, trap gospel. Let's see. I think it moves to Issa talking with the group that is financing her current venture with a young artist, fashion designer named Crenshaw, who's from Crenshaw, who happened to have been in jail, and now he's changed his life around. He's an artist. He has a vision. She does a presentation for, what is it? MBW. MBW is a water company, a purified water company. They've got good packaging on their water. I think they're in cardboard. It's more sustainable and biodegradable and all of that good stuff. I think Will Smith's, Jaden Smith's water company, that's what they're mimicking. What is it? Just water in the blue packaging. Anyway. She does the presentation. The presentation goes well. The coordinators from MBW are saying, like, they saw her vision, but they want to pare it down. And Issa's a little upset about that. She goes over to Molly's house. She tells her about the presentation, and Molly says, well, everybody has a boss. Maybe you need to sit down with the boss and go over your concerns about them trying to pare down Crenshaw's dream. They go back and they're eating and they're talking. And again, they are really, really making steps to work on their relationship. Child, Molly showed Issa a picture of Herbert. Issa said, okay, Molly, that's his. You done show me a picture of his daddy. Now show me Herbert. And Molly was like, this is Herbert. And Issa's like, no. Show me a picture of her because that looked like somebody's daddy. Oh, that was just hilarious. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. After she was like, I don't know if it's another day or Issa ate and left, but Molly goes back on the dating site because you remember in the first season and in the second season, she was very adamant about being on these dating sites, doing all of these dates with these men's. If you have men's, listen to me, doing all these dates with the men and all the awful dates and some of the good dates or anything like that. And she looked at her profile and she was like, wow, Molly, you're a bit much. But then when she went to try to put down who she was and how it is to date her, she started flashing back to all those horrible dates and things that she had. And for once in her life, she's kind of stumped. Who am I? Who am I to date? Because I'm, she's changing. She's working on herself. So I don't know if she filled all of that out. I'm not really sure. But she kind of looked and gave it some pause. But I was glad she gave it some pause because I don't really think she's ready. I think her mother is pressuring her to be ready, but she's absolutely not ready. Also, we notice here with Molly has cut her hair. And so she's changed her hair. She's changed her hairstyle, which is always interesting and which is very important. I know for anybody, well, I know for black women. We center a lot of things around our hair, regardless of what you think about that or not. That's just cultural and it's not going to change. But one thing that doesn't change is that when a black woman cuts her hair, she is about to make some major changes in her life. And so I like that this show is showing that Molly is doing some changing and working on herself. And one of the things that you do is that, you cut your hair, partly because, your hair holds memory. So I'm just going to get real with you. But your hair holds memory. If you ever notice, like if they do drug tests or something like that, they go to your hair because your hair can tell you what you've been doing, what you've been eating, how you've been working, whatever it is, it's in your hair. And so a lot of times if you've got a lot of issues, if you got a lot of stuff, if you cut your hair, you can kind of cleanse yourself and free yourself from all of those things. So that's just a spiritual thing that I knew about. It just passed down from my mom and my thing. This is why women cut their hair. So anyway, Molly, I just, that was a note that I saw that Molly had cut her hair, which was interesting. Let me see. Where are we? So Issa meets with the owner of NBW and the guy Seth, who she had pitched the show, the white guy, Nadia. Nadia is the person that owns the NBW, and also Nadia is the woman that was on the panel with Issa a year ago at Stanford. So that's a little interesting plug. And so Seth is like, Seth comes. She asked Seth to come. I don't think she asked Seth. I think when he heard that she was going to meet, he was like, oh, well, I'm going to come, but, I don't want Issa to think that I just kind of just took over. Would you just tell her that you met me? I think that's what happened. So they meet, and Issa pitches it again, and again, they have notes. Nadia goes with Seth, and so Issa has to bring that to Crenshaw, and Crenshaw is upset. And he tells Issa, I had you to do this, and Issa's trying to explain to him, we can pare it down and change it around, and he's not wanting to do that. You know how artists are; they're temperamental. They have a vision, and they don't want that vision to change, and that's okay. It's Issa's job to have a balance for that. So the company that's paying for all of this versus the vision that you have, there has to be a balance to that. Molly calls her mom and she apologizes to her mom for getting upset about the estate planning, and the mom is like, no, you don't have to apologize. She said that we've just been holding off, and a lot of that has to do with our fear, and probably rooted in what I had talked about a little bit earlier, and that once they get over their fear, they're going to do it. And she says they're going to call the estate planner tomorrow and then make an appointment so they can kind of start start off on working on this. And then Molly's mom goes into her dating and to talk to Herbert. Molly hangs up on her mom because she's like, I don't want to talk about old Herbert. Ooh, Issa said he looked like he looked like, I'm sorry, that was just funny to me. So then we fast forward to the day of the event. We have the event. Molly comes in with the competitor's water. Issa had to get rid of that water. Issa's assistant takes the little wand, the little metal detector, and goes up and down Molly's body. Because if you remember last year from the block party, somebody said, oh, they got a gun. And everybody went sprinting. So the assistant believes in her heart of hearts that Molly had a gun, child. So she's been patting her down. Then we see the reporter from the block party who interviews Issa about the event. And then you see Issa's assistants just doing all of that. What's wrong? What's wrong? So Issa says, you got to come in the back. It's what is his boy's name? Crenshaw. All the stuff that they had talked about taking out, Crenshaw done put it back. And he told her that he wasn't studying, that was his vision, and he gonna do it like he want to do it. And so it's too late now. Everybody has everybody's there. Everybody's on board. So Molly goes outside, and she was talking to Molly, and Issa goes outside talking to Molly, and she tells her, child, he done went rogue. And she's like, rogue? She's like, oh yeah, like X-Men. So they brace for the presentation, and the presentation comes out. At first it seems tame. Come out, and you know, the models are out with their outfits and stuff like that. They look decent. And then all the hilarity happened with, you know, it had the hood stuff. And they come out with all of that, and Issa's like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to work with anybody again. I'm just not going to be able to work with anybody again. And ended up that Seth actually liked it, and he apologized to Issa. You know, he was saying that, you know, a lot of times people don't want to take risk, and he was very happy that Issa and them took risk. And so he's looking forward to working with her again. That's a wonderful thing. Issa seems real reflective. She calls Nathan for come over a drink. Nathan comes over. He gets ready to leave, and Issa invites him to stay. So they were just about to do the do, and then Issa started crying and says that she couldn't do this. And you know, Nathan is a little bewildered about the whole situation, but he ends up holding her, and she falls asleep. And then as she's asleep, Nathan just goes ahead and he leaves. And Issa wakes up when she hears the door close. And Issa has been keeping busy. And I don't think that she has taken the time like Molly is taking the time to do more self-reflection and working on herself, you know, with her breakup with Lawrence, with her second breakup with Lawrence. And she hasn't dealt with that, and that seems like that has come up because she didn't want to have sex with him. So maybe she's still pining over Lawrence. I hope not. I really do hope not. Sometimes you just got to leave some things alone, even though there's a kindred thing and you all feel it. But sometimes circumstances, you know, she should grieve that relationship and go about her business. That's just my personal opinion. We see it ends with we see Molly is dating again. So she must have found something to place into her profile that was applicable enough for her to feel comfortable with dating again. I hope that she takes a different turn with her dating, how she's dating and being very purposeful with it, and not trying to be, you know, not with all of these, because Molly is one of those people that has all these deadlines. I'm supposed to be doing this by this and this by this and this by this. And you can see her mom has also encouraged her to have those types of deadlines. You know, her mother was probably like, oh, I want you to be a lawyer. I want you to be successful. But, I want you to be married. I want you to have, start getting married because now you should be having kids. And now you should be doing all of these different things. And I don't think Molly is ready for that. This was a decent episode. I honestly would love to see more episodes with the gang, with Kelly and Tiffany and Molly and Issa. I know we need to work on Issa and Molly, but I do want to see where everybody is coming from, because this is a friend group that has been friends for probably 10 years, and now their relationship is about to go into a whole nother spectrum, or whatever you want to call that. So I want to see, because my predictions are for this, and we'll look at this at the end of episode 10. But my predictions is with Kelly. I think Kelly is going to. I think she's going to leave. She's going to leave the group. She's going to move, because she's realizing that she really has no big growth where she's at, and I think she just needs new friends and new connections and things like that to help her grow. I think her and Tiffany will be, out of the friend group, will still be close. But I think overall she is going to move. I think Issa, I don't know why I think Issa's going to go back to Lawrence. I think that they're going to do something foolish like that. We'll see how Condola acts, but I think she's foolishly going to go somewhere with Lawrence. I think Molly's going to open up her own firm. I think Molly is going to open up her own, she's going to still continue to be a lawyer, but she's going to still be a lawyer. But she may open up her own firm. I think that she probably be one of those lawyers to the stars, doing stuff like that, estate planning and stuff like that, getting the people to keep their money right. I think she's going to do that type of lawyering. I think that's going to give, she's going to do something different. There's going to be a dramatic shift with her, not only in her personal life, but I think in her professional life too. I think it's just going to be a really dramatic shift. And with Tiffany, I don't think that there's going to be much change with Tiffany. I think Tiffany is going to continue the life that she's living. They're going to continue to be married and just kind of just live their lives. Nothing's going to too much change. But I think Tiffany's friend group is going to be different, because like I said, she's the only one of the friends that has children. So she probably, because she has a child and because she has needs in terms of how to parent, she's going to go into another friend group. Yeah. All right, that was episode 2 of season 5, the series finale. Tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.